printed shapes transformed before my eyes into words, into meaningful symbols that seem strange and yet inevitable. No more sounding it out. I had conceived of no complexity, no ramifications, no paradoxical revelations teased from a text. Somehow, struggling with the meaning of the lady's white dog, the words on the page transformed once more, this time into weighty signals bearing the complexity of human thought.
No one would know what the fatal wound had been, from whence had come the blood that had drove the sharks into a frenzy for what it had thought was a sea otter. It devoured her in 2 bites, so that nothing remained of her but a thick puff of blood, as though she'd been blown to smithereens. Well, ma'am, she died instantly, said the Coast Guard to Judy. One swift bite off the top of her neck and she was gone. That should make you feel better, knowing that her head popped off like the cap on a bottle of Advil.
My hips are too wide for us. We walk side by side and they swoop out in smiling arcs, promising good sex, salsa dancing, and healthy kids. But they hit your bones. Straight is my cruciate back and shoulders when I push up my breasts, telling my body to be unashamed, and we teeter like Siamese twins, awkward and ugly, with unconnected hearts.
I hope that the reader does not see this action as a hallmark of an unreliable narrator, and condemn this work to the waste bin, or worse, the literary purgatory that is the forgettable and otherwise unremarkable short story. Instead, I hope this executive decision is seen as the humbling maneuver it was meant to be, though I can't help but shake the feeling that by acknowledging the act as modest and self-effacing is antithetical to my original intent.
My cousin Brad, 8 years old as I am, floats face down in the rubber swimming pool like a water beetle, arms flopping limply at his sides. His enormous head bumps the side of the pool rhythmically. His black hair flows in the water like a long carpet of seaweed. Fascinating, horrible.
The man walks into the small building in the back of the cemetery, breathes in the dusty, musty air, pulls a chain to turn on the flickering, uncovered light. Years and years of lives lie here. The walls hold the shelves hold the boxes hold the bones. A breeze blows in through the window. It feels like the bones are breathing.
Kara leans her head on Vincent's shoulder. His shirt ripples as the wings underneath stir. Cut to interior bedroom, night. Kara lies on her side asleep. Vincent looks up at the ceiling, awake.
It's strange.
Kara does not move.
What is?
It's strange that I'm turning into a duck.
I think that's a given.
What I mean is that, of all things, it's strange that I'm becoming a duck.
Fade out.
When Will was finished, he calmly stood up, breathing a little heavier, and looked at me. Tommy here decided to start using his own product. Tommy decided it would be best to try and cheat me out of what he owes me. Tommy is a moron. I didn't know what to say, so I just stood there and stared. What was I supposed to do?
A glare of yellow light on the shiny subway guide, forcing us to rely on instincts. Which is the right stop? When do I stop? Can I? If only there was a map providing directions to lessen the inches between two people.
Some babies don't make it that far. They begin a minuscule hummingbird heart, and then something goes wrong. The brain develops all awry, or their organs fuse to their tiny bird bones and can't come apart again. They're broken and can't be fixed, and so are bled away. Mothers feel the soft gush and shove in a tampon, or lay on their sides while their cramps contort their bodies and don't feel the tears on their cheeks. Some babies are born and never should have been.
There was a click, and he put the barrel to her head. He ran the black nose down.
You don't need living. You ask, so I'm showing. Isn't this gun just gorgeous? A beautiful machine?
He rubbed the barrel down her chin.
So tell me, Mr. Lincoln, what exactly do you do with a plain Jane like me?
Nothing.
He said.
What would happen if I pulled the trigger?
At first, love was a series of mistakes. The step of boots on open-toed shoes, the stumble, and the nervous laughter afterward. Flat notes from the heavy-handed tinkering of a cousin learning guitar. But decades have passed and so much has melted away. Now their fingers interlock without a glance from behind scratched Coke bottle glasses, from cataract-glazed eyes that have learned to read the soul like the ley lines of aged skin.
While we were debating the correct spelling of lemur and toucan in the back of the room, Mr. Reynolds, our school's technology teacher, was conducting a computer class for the elderly, instructing them on how to copy and paste text into a Word document. How sad, I thought. They're going to die soon and they're only on copying and pasting?
I don't remember adding double digits in kindergarten, but it was a piece of paper, and there were beads of sweat congealing along my hairline. The blocks and board books that I remembered didn't usually come with instruction sheets, or the pencil that was holding up a precarious and slowly unwinding mess of hair. It would have been frizzy if it weren't so greasy. My scalp itched at the thought. I hadn't had time to wash my hair that morning.
Right now she looked at the clouds in the sky and imagined what kind of shapes they could make if they went together somehow, like white fluffy puzzle pieces. She wished that she could voice her thoughts, but Ashley was born without being able to talk, and probably would always be like this till she was stiff in the ground, like her father sometimes said when talking about dead people.
I then say something to the effect of, well, you know, Meep Meep probably likes to live near a window, and then Meep Meep is found, and we laugh at the incredibility of it all. Meep Meep, running away like that, being found in broad daylight. What a silly little mouse he is.
My father filters in and out of our conversation, but he is an accessory today, decoration we don't necessarily need. We sit at the kitchen table, and I look anywhere but at my mother. The floor tiles are suddenly vastly entertaining. I count and recount the colors, patterns. The tiles curl up in front of the back door like they're desperate to leave, trying to crawl out. I stare at the floor, and my mom continues talking.
The kitchen was covered in butterflies. He had to brush them aside to get at the cereal. They covered the dirty dishes in a layer of multicolored wings and slept in his cat's fur. He lumbered across the hall into the dining room, followed by a fluttering cloud, which settled on the sugar water-soaked towels spread across the dining room table. As he ate breakfast, he stared at the rhythmic waves of their feeding wings.
Your whole life rippling out of your chest in concentric circles. You stand in the center like a spearfisher. Heat turned up all the way, tearing towards the clinic at 60 miles an hour. Flies smash into the windshield of your beige Volkswagen. You rise from the driver's seat, frozen breath rolling into your cupped palms, shoulder blades protruding like stubby wings.
I know this shouldn't be happening. You live on Lakeside Drive, on that side of town where the lawns are groomed and houses stay unlocked past midnight. But I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do. And although I don't expect much these days, I'm searching for a little something to curb my hunger. Because she's still locked away like a maiden in a tower, and the cupboards are dustier now than ever.
She stood up and yelled until Susan shrank into her turtleneck like, well, a turtle. A few wires anxiously escaped her normally perfect brunette bun. After that, Susan moved from the front row to the back one. She knitted. Sometimes River would shoot Susan a look, and Susan would start knitting like the craziest son of a bitch I ever saw. Her face would scrunch up and redden out of anger, and she would start knitting so fast that you could hear her little sticks clanking together from the front of the room. You know those little sticks girls used to knit? I don't know what they're called. How can you expect me to know what those things are called?